Alright, what's going on, guys? So this is one of the most highly requested videos I get asked to make for my channel, and this is going to be the top 10 things that only pro players do in zombies. These are going to be some pretty high-level tips that I would estimate only around like 5% maybe of zombie players total really know and can implement. However, watching through this video should help you understand what these techniques are and how you can apply them in your game, and they should dramatically improve your gameplay if done right, so I think you guys are going to find this useful. Because the support on the channel recently has been absolutely staggering, it's allowed me to give back to you guys in as many ways as I can, so I really appreciate it. But in this video, I'm going to be giving away a full copy of Black Ops Cold War, and if you want to enter, all you need to do is drop a thumbs up on the video, subscribe if you are brand new to the channel, and then also let me know what your platform is and your gamer tag in the comments below. I'm very humbled by all the love on the channel recently, and I just want to pay it forward as much as I can, so once again, I very much appreciate it. But today is going to be the top 10 things that only pro zombie players do, and I'm going to explain how each and every single one of these work. So sit back, relax, enjoy the video, and let's get into it. Taking our number 10 spot today is going to sound like maybe an obvious one, but this is using your aim assist spam with Deadshot Daiquiri. Now, Deadshot has completely revolutionized the way it functions in Cold War Zombies, and because of the importance of headshots in specifically this game, it is one of the most important perks to have in your loadout no matter what. Using your aim assist spam will automatically track to the head on every single zombie. Now, the only thing you need to watch out while doing this is when you fully ADS, your movement speed is definitely going to decrease a little bit, so you need to be mindful about where you are and what your positioning is, but this can pretty much guarantee headshots for as long as humanly possible, and this is really good for getting camos when you need to get a certain amount of critical kills. This one is probably the most basic out of all the tips, but this technique has been around in zombie games for years previously, but it's never been more important than it is in Cold War Zombies, so I strongly recommend using this technique and understanding how Deadshot works and how to use it effectively. Tip number 9 is going to be how to buy perks more safely. So in Cold War Zombies, you buy a perk and you still have your gun up, so you're not completely helpless, but your movement is severely restricted. The only thing you can really do is jump, and you get slowed down to essentially a walk speed. Now, there is a safer alternative when you buy a perk. You can actually start sliding as the animation is going, and this is very useful if you're getting chased by a horde or something like that. Because most perks are put in corners, you can buy the perk, and when the animation begins, you begin a slide, and this is great for high pressure situations to put a substantial amount of distance between you and the zombies behind you, and I can't tell you how many times this has saved my life. Tip number 8 is going to sound like a sort of strange one, but playing without elemental pop sometimes is going to be the better option. Now, a lot of the alternate ammo types in this game have their own unique abilities that you may not know about. Specifically, Deadwire and Cryo Freeze are actually more effective at killing megatons. It's going to increase your damage output onto boss enemies, and Blast Furnace will allow you to deal more damage to plague hounds, although they're very easy to kill, so I don't really recommend using it for that particular purpose. But the main reason to play without elemental pop is it can introduce an element of random that can disrupt the rhythm of your horde or the way that you're playing the game. So, for example, if you accidentally get a turn zombie near the end of a round, it might accidentally pass it when you had some stuff you needed to do before you flipped. Deadwire can cause zombies to get stuck in very inconvenient locations and ultimately lead to you getting down, stuff like that. So, typically, if I'm like high rounding or if I'm training in spawn, I usually play without elemental pop. As long as you have a method and strategy for taking out boss enemies, then you don't really need to use this perk all that much. For just general gameplay purposes, or if you're just having fun with friends, then by all means run elemental pop, but if you're having a serious solo game, then typically in most strategies, I recommend playing without it. Number 7 is the most safe and efficient way to buy armor. If you have none and you're in a high pressure scenario, you can run across these rails, which will cause zombies to freeze, and when you get to the armor station, you get your inputs down so you can do it as quickly as humanly possible. I'm going to slow it down in case you happen to miss it there, but you can essentially freeze the zombies while being on the rails, and then as soon as you get to the armor station, if you get your inputs down in a way where you can put this in seriously less than half a second and then be on your way, you can do this not only for armor, but even craftable items at the table. We all know that one of the easiest ways to die in Cold War Zombies is spending too much time at the armor station or at a table or doing some action that requires you to be pretty much still, so this is a way to get your job done quickly and then get moving on. Tip number 6 is understanding and implementing the slide cancel mechanic properly. Now, the whole idea behind the slide cancel is that you get all the benefits from sliding and canceling out all of the downsides, namely the end lag that you get after initiating a slide. So the way to initiate a slide cancel is to begin sprinting and then queue up a slide, while your mid-slide animation, press the button again, which will bring you sort of back to a crouch, and then immediately once you go back into crouch, you press jump. So the inputs should look something like this. Now, you do have to input them very quickly for you to get the full effect. However, this should allow you to get the small burst of speed that you get from the slide and then immediately go back into sprint after, so that you're not caught like walking or crouching by the zombies behind you. The inputs can be a little bit complicated and it's common to mess them up sometimes, but it's an extremely important and valuable tool, especially if you want to take your zombies game to the top tier level. Number 5 is unbelievably important for high round attempts. Now, monkey bombs in this game leave you completely wide open when warming them up and prepping them in the animation, but if you're able to slide as you're warming that monkey up, again, you can put some distance between yourself and the zombies, and this is vital for survival in anything above round 50 when you get the super sprinters, because they will literally maul you if you're not doing this technique. It should go without saying you can do this technique with any piece of equipment, but it's most obvious when you're doing it with monkey bombs, as they take like the longest to warm up. But this is just like so important to get down. Queuing up a slide in the air as you're warming up that monkey. This has saved my life on high round attempts countless times and is something that I strongly recommend building into your muscle memory because it's unbelievably important. Tip number 4 is understanding the backpedaling technique. Now, oftentimes if you're watching somebody high round in their training, you'll see them run backwards at their horde and then start firing their ray gun while they're jumping. The reason this is done is because the ray gun has pushback on it, and because backpedaling in a lot of cases is generally faster than walking forward sometimes in zombies. This allows you to put out way more damage before the horde actually catches up to you, and again, this can be done with the ray gun. You can also do this with the war machine. If you're doing the Easter egg and up to the step where you need to transfer the decontamination agent, you can walk backwards with this golden orb, assuming that your stamina up is at least upgraded to level 1. Backpedaling is actually faster than walking forward, so you can use your minimap to guide you, but backpedaling is so powerful in Cold War Zombies. Pretty much all of the guns in this game have a slowdown when you're firing the weapon to your character, and it's also class dependent. You're going to get more slowdown with LMGs than you would say with a pistol or an SMG. But with some of the weapons, and specifically with the ray gun, you can actually use that slowdown or that pushback to your advantage and to create more distance between you and the zombies, making you significantly more safe. I recommend just jumping into game and experimenting with backpedaling as one of your primary sources of movement. Not only will this make your decision making a little bit better because you can't actually see what's right in front of you, so you have to use your context clues, but this is also just a good idea to experiment and see what else backpedaling can do for you. Tip number 3 is a tip that most general zombie players probably won't know, but this is how to get more max ammos. Now, I will say this tip is less effective in Cold War than it has been in previous zombie titles because of how easy it is to obtain ammo in this game, but essentially you need to know how the drop cycle works. When you begin a game, all of the drops are going to be given to you in a random order as the game progresses, and once you get through all of the drops once, then the cycle will reset in another random order. However, you will not get fire sales unless you move the box. So upon getting your first teddy bear, the fire sale drop will be added into your cycle for that game. So essentially, if you want to get more max ammos or just other drops that aren't fire sales, then to not move the mystery box. If you can get all of your guns either without touching the mystery box or without moving it, then you're going to end up getting more max ammos as you go along because just of how the drop cycle is designed, you have less to get in the way of getting more max ammos. And this is still something super important to utilize and understand in Cold War Zombies, although again, significantly less important than it has been in previous zombie games where with wonder weapons, there was no other way to get ammo besides getting the drops. But either way, it's just something to keep in mind as you're playing your game. Sometimes it's worth trying to get everything out of the box before you move it, and if you do, then you might end up paying for it later. Tip number 2 is using the Ether Shroud upgrade as creatively as physically possible. Now, I don't understand how this is still in the game, but you can essentially use your Ether Shroud to even go through buildings and teleport through walls. You can use this in really creative ways, and you can even still use this, as far as I can tell, to teleport out of the boss fight when you get to that step in the Easter egg, which I don't know how they haven't patched yet. You can use this to teleport straight through buildings to get closer to teammates or to literally get out of boss fights and, you know, just ridiculous things that I've seen with Ether Shroud. I don't know if they're going to get rid of the teleport ability because it seems to be breaking the game quite a lot, but I've just seen some really sick plays that you can use with Ether Shroud. Definitely my favorite upgrade ability in the game, and not only is it one of the best safety tools, but you can use this in super creative ways. Now, finally guys, coming in at tip number 1 is something I could demonstrate a little bit better if this game had theater mode, but but if you've ever seen somebody do a 360 spin while jumping through a horde of zombies, the reason this is done, not only is it stylish, but it literally disrupts the tracking of zombies. And I found that after testing this in Cold War zombies, it's a little bit inconsistent, but still does sometimes work. The reasoning behind this, when your character jumps and is facing a different direction where the zombies are, sometimes this will initiate the mechanic where they like kind of stand still, or they're gonna throw like their heart at you, but instead of doing that, once you hit the ground, then they sort of get back on their regular tracking. So you can kind of like almost make the zombies pause for a minute if you do this correctly. And again, it's a little bit more inconsistent in Cold War than it has been in previous zombie games, and it's also not something to be spammed all the time, but is a very, very situational tool. Was just trying to demonstrate it in this gameplay, so it's something that I, again, don't recommend you use all the time, but is something to add to your movement toolkit, and every once in a while, in that very particular scenario, will be the thing that actually saves your life. So it's just something important to know. But anyways, guys, that is going to be the top 10 things that only pro zombie players do. If you did enjoy this video, or if you learned anything from it, then be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Feel free to enter the giveaway as mentioned at the beginning of this video as well. And I also stream zombies nearly every day over on Twitch, so if you don't already follow me and you want to come over there and say hi, then I highly encourage it. Link to that is in the description. But hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you all on the next stream or the next video. Take it easy, I gotta go, and peace out.